Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to be talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was good. I listened to it, and it took me a couple weeks to get through, and it's really unfortunate because I want to spend all my Audible credits on the rest of the books. You're definitely not supposed to think too hard on them. You're supposed to just enjoy them and listen to them, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, listening to it, and yeah, I don't know. I think you should at least listen to the first book or read the first book. It's about a guy named Carl, and he goes dungeon crawling, and I remember seeing this book in my Audible suggestions and thinking, this looks stupid. How can we as a society, become so shallow to read something like this or listen to something like this? And then I actually listened to it because a buddy suggested it, and it actually was pretty good. I liked it. I will say some of the humor is either hits really hard and some of it is very on the nose. It's like that buddy who repeats the joke like 3 times until it's not funny anymore. And yeah, that's some of the jokes in this book, and then some of them are really funny. I remember laughing at work listening to this while I was doing like setups or whatever, and Carl just is like, fuck, like just the way he says it in certain situations, I can envision it perfectly, and I think it's so fun. And people were not kidding. They were like, oh, you're probably going to, like, you shouldn't read this because you're going to want to buy the whole series and read the whole series, and then you won't know what to do with your life. And it's not wrong. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, how much is really like $100 in the grand scheme of things to get a bunch of Audible credits so I can buy all of the Dungeon Crawler series? Because Audible's like, oh, it's $25 or an Audible credit, which an Audible credit is like 15, so it's like, do the math. But yeah, it was really good. It follows Carl. He's in our world. His building collapses. He goes into this dungeon with his cat Donut, and his cat Donut eventually gets the ability to speak, and she becomes Princess Donut. This is definitely a book that needs to be made into a show. If this was a show, it would be so popular. I don't think you understand how popular it would be. I'm listening to it, and I just think, yeah, this is a show. I'm listening to a show in the background. This is not a book. I'm not listening to an audiobook. I'm listening to a show take place. That's what it feels like. So hopefully within the coming years, and like a couple years, honestly, they really need to get on the hype train, because it's one of the only things I see in my feed, because there's 2 books, 2 series that flood my feed constantly. Dungeon Crawler Carl and the Red Rising series. I have the first Red Rising book on my shelf. I'll get around to it eventually, but I did get around to the first Dungeon Crawler Carl book, and it was great. I think if you're a guy, especially, you should read it or listen to it. Probably listen to it. I've seen the books, and they look okay, but the guy they have voice acting, like, he did legit voice acting for the characters in the book. So, it's not just some grumpy old fart reading the books that's like, and then I did this. No, he made a specific Carl voice, and he wasn't wrong. They interviewed him, and he was like, well, I wanted to make a voice that every time you hear it now, you'll be like, that's Carl. Like, without a doubt, it's Carl. And he's not wrong. If I ever hear his voice in that tone and that pitch, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's Carl. And he also does Princess Donut, the cat. He did all the women, I think, and he did a decent job with them, even though he said his range wasn't as good. But yeah, did all the voices and made specific voices for each one so you could tell them apart. All of it. It was great. But yeah, the book is basically like a video game. It's like an RPG, a role-playing game, where you level up and you get their loot boxes and stuff, and he just has to keep going down these floors that progressively get harder. He has a level, he has an inventory system, yada, yada, yada. and they tell him like, oh, equip this to your hot bar. That way, you know, you don't have to actually drink this potion because they taste like shit. If you don't play video games, like, you know, your guy has health, and if that reaches 0, he dies. So you drink health potions to heal, and you drink mana potions to get mana, which is like another bar that allows you to do special moves. And I remember there was one potion, he like drank it and he was like, oh my god, this tastes like shit. And it's like, yeah, I saw that one coming. That is kind of a problem. Some of the jokes you can kind of see coming from a mile away. You're like, I wonder if he's gonna do that. And this book is very lighthearted. Like, I never really once feared for Carl or Princess Donut. There was never a bunch of tension. It was more just like, oh, how are they gonna get out of this one? That's kind of what it feels like. It doesn't feel like there's a bunch of tension, like, oh my gosh, there's no way they get out of this. Like, I'm on the 3rd Stormlight book right now. There have been moments in that series where I legitimately am like, oh my god, how in the hell is this character going to get out of this situation? I never thought that with Dungeon Crawler Carl. But aside from that, you know, the humor being off sometimes, it's on a good chunk of the time. You will laugh, I would hope. If you don't laugh at any of the jokes, I'm gonna be cocking my eye at you like, are you sure? Are you really? Are you sure? But I understand it won't be everyone's cup of tea. I don't know if I would recommend it to women. I've seen in my feed, there have been women that are like, I love this book, and it's very confusing to me because it doesn't seem like something that would be tailored to a woman. I don't know if I'm sexist like that, but that's just me. But yeah, if you want a lighthearted story that is a guy who gets sucked into a video game, essentially, he's not in a video game, he's in an environment that is like a video game. He's on minor spoilers. You can't even spoil this book. It's basically just a bunch of wacky adventures that take place. Aliens invade, and they want to see how humans do in this little game show they do with like every planet, and the survivors get to go back to a wasted Earth. So your goal is to either die in this hellscape that they throw you in, or survive, and then you get to go back. That's kind of the gist of it. So, you know, he obviously wants to survive, and I mean, there's 8 books. He probably lives through all of them. I'd be very surprised if he kills them at the end. You know what I mean? But yeah, with that said, this book, listening to it was like an 8 out of 10 experience. It was pretty good. Yeah, 8 out of 10. I think that's reasonable. That's about it. See ya.